welcome to my jungle. This is Erin at the At Homestead, and I have been neglectful. If you see behind me, it is overgrown. It's summertime. We all are neglectful at times because it's so hot. It's also been, we took some time off, I'm sure you noticed, but to spend some time with family, and we are finally ready to get back to it. And I have to prune pretty heavily today. I don't normally prune super heavy in July, but it's got to be done. The tomatoes are out of control. By pruning the tomatoes, I'm going to be putting more energy from the plant that is photosynthesized into growing the fruit, so I'll have better fruits. And so that needs to get tackled. And then I also need to prune the bottoms of my pepper plants. I like to keep them nice and high off the ground. I like to make sure that nothing is going to, because I hand water, no water is going to backsplash onto the plant and cause a disease. And I just need to get all that done today. And then hopefully I'll be able to get to tackling these guys, which have a couple leaves that don't look so great. And then they also need to be retrained, because if you see, this one's doing well, except that it's now also going over to this other trellis, and this trellis is going to that trellis. So we just have to get this going. There's a lot of stuff growing in the garden this week too, so take a look at the garden tour later that I'll post up later, because we've got yard beans and I'm super excited about those. But let's get to pruning. So first of all, this tomato trellis is absolutely out of control, like I said, and I need to just take a lot of time and prune these fruits up. Most of these leaves, if you are a heavy pruner, most of these leaves you've probably already taken off this time of year so that the energy can go into the fruit, like I mentioned. This is just one way of growing tomatoes, by the way. You don't have to do anything to your tomato plants. You can let them grow all the suckers that you have and vine out all that you want. You don't have to do this. This is just something I've found really works well for me with the types of tomatoes that I like to grow. You don't have to do this, like I said. So if you do, I first start off at the very bottom, and I'm going to take off a lot of these branches that you see, and then I'll go up and start taking a look at all the suckers that I have and determine whether or not I want to take those off at this point in the year, because my tomatoes will continue to produce now until potentially September. They're pretty long living here. So I say that now, and of course they won't, just teasing. So that took forever. I went through and I also pruned my cherry tomatoes because they were getting out of control also. So let me, these are now the slicers. See how much better they look. They, you can actually see through them. They've got a lot more airflow. I don't know if any of you guys do this, but I start heavily pruning in the month of July and then through August, because the plant only needs really the top 3 stems to photosynthesize, and this will help keep the plant nice and free of disease and lots of airflow, which is really good. I can also see if there's any disease coming a little bit better, which happens a lot during this time of year. Got a lot of cat facing because we had a night dip pretty low here in the high 40s, which was super crazy a little bit ago, and all these tomatoes were developing. So that is one of the reasons why you'll see the cat facing on some of them. It's fine. I'm not going to market. I'm not selling them. So they're still edible. They're just, have a little face to them. And then I also, on the other side, have a really cool tomato that was 2 blossoms, I think, that merged into one, which has this really beautiful, interesting effect. The problem that I have, I don't know if you guys have this, is I have a lot of birds So I actually might put some netting over these just so that they can ripen on the vine a little bit longer. I took some off that are like almost there because I just wanted to bring them in, and then I'm going to harvest some later because for a harvest video, because I've got a lot that are starting to turn red. I don't know if you can see them in there hiding, and so I didn't want to prune off too many and then leave those for the birds to eat today because we just have so many birds. And then I also had to retrain some of the tomatoes to keep going over the top of the trellis. So that's that. And then these guys didn't need too much because they're on the other side of the fence, but I wanted to go ahead and prune those as well. And I really heavily prune my tomatoes again this time of year because this is when everything starts to get sick and have an issue with blight and deficiencies. When you have plants as large as mine also, they start to get deficient. So the first stems I always cut off are the bottom ones that are super, super big, that are reaching for the sun, because the upper, more tender leaves are the ones that photosynthesize better and faster. And then we can put some energy towards the plant itself. So I'm really excited I was able to get this done. It's been about 2 hours because it just took so long. I didn't film all of it. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and prune my peppers as well. And I'm not going to film that because it'll take a long time and they're not very interesting to see. But yeah, make sure you're pruning your tomatoes this month. Make sure you're taking a look out for any type of damage, any type of disease, cut off leaves that are, super deficient, that are hindering your plant, and then just make sure to take care of them. See you next time, guys. Thanks for joining me today. Bye.